as we go throughout portions of the day here. But it doesn't stop here. This is a storm that will continue to stretch, continue to tap into that tropical DNA, not just across the coastal plains of Georgia, into the Outer Banks of North Carolina, into the DMV, and ultimately through portions of New England as well. So we're in this for the long haul here at the Weather Channel. Our coverage doesn't stop here or doesn't end here. It continues going just as Tropical Storm Elsa has here. And this heavy dump of rainfall, now I'm seeing the St. Johns River start to see the waves pick up a little bit more. And occasionally, at points, it's almost like a curtain of rain just coming through. Someone's trying to close the curtain. We're certainly not closing the curtains just yet on Tropical Storm Elsa. And here we go again, a heavy gust of rainfall or a heavy burst of wind right now. And I just saw a splash, though, of water from the St. Johns River right along the boardwalk. So that lets me know now we've got a rocky river situation. Now we've got more waves starting to pick up. That because of the wind. So again, we're still not done just yet from Tropical Storm Elsa. Some maybe 2 to 4 inches of rainfall to go from this heavy downpour. And that's the cinch anytime you get into a tropical situation, or that's the sort of the gist once you get into a tropical situation. And Mike, you know this all too well. You may think, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. That's just sort of a widespread forecast. Anytime you get a tropical downpour, especially for the folks in Florida, where this could happen on an average summer day, you can pick up between 3 and 5 inches of rainfall, and that's sort of coming to fruition right now. And as we get ready to send it back to you, Mike, as things start to lessen up here, I'm actually able to notice some of the boats, some of the homes downtown are starting to clear out here. The stadium, TIAA Bank Stadium is starting to clear on out. And
a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
It starts in a flash, and it ends seemingly in a flash as well. Mike?
Yeah, a lot going on for us for sure. And then to your point, with the heavy rain, we'll be watching for some street flooding as well. Tevin, thank you for the update there from Jacksonville. Again, we've got a tornado warning right now in the Jacksonville area. Really distinct rotation on this about 15 minutes or so ago. But I got to be honest with you, a lot of that rotation has, at least on the radar, not been recognizable in the last couple of minutes here. But there's the big circulation. Elsa sitting right in there in the center of it, and you can see these bands that extend off of that. And within those bands is where we're seeing the big convection happening, the big thunderstorms that are happening right now. Huge amounts of rain coming through Jacksonville at this point, as Tevin was adequately showing us there on the live shot there. But Duval and Nassau counties clearly under a tornado warning. That goes until 5:30 this evening. There was some big-time rotation down in here near I-95, pushing this direction up to the east side of Jacksonville. No longer can necessarily see any rotation on the radar, at least. You would be looking for kind of a bright green and a bright red right next to each other. I don't see that anywhere at this point. It would likely be, the rotation would be about right up in here at this point, but I don't really see anything right now. It'd be a real close view from the radar as well. We don't really see that right now. Having said that, if you're in Gilmore or Eastport or in Dunn Creek, there's all places where you want to find a safe place, and that's going to be ground level of your home, not on the second floor, not on the third floor. Get down to the first floor and get inside an interior room away from windows. That'll be a hallway, a closet, a bathroom. Those will all be safe places for you. Then we're going to go a little bit farther north here. These storms no longer severe thunderstorm warned, but around Adrian and Swainsboro and Garfield, Georgia. Some pretty intense storms here, and those storms not at this point producing severe weather, but tornadoes are possible at any of these exterior.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
Tropical storm. We have a new advisory for the Hurricane Center. Hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knapp with that.
Yeah, Mike, the center of Elsa has now crossed into southern Georgia, and the maximum sustained winds have come down to 45 miles an hour. But as we've seen yesterday, we have gusts that are a lot stronger than that. And over land, the difference between the sustained wind and the gusts can be a bit higher. So don't think you can't have wind gusts a lot higher than the 45 miles an hour. We still have onshore flow into the Big Bend area of Florida, but the tropical storm and storm surge warnings have come down there. But it's still pretty east loaded, causing the severe weather and the flooding here from Valdosta over to Jacksonville. It's about to get really, really rainy in Savannah. And again, the impacts will extend well outside of this cone. It'll be accelerating northeastward, maybe not even as a tropical storm somewhere along the way, but in a couple of days becomes non-tropical. But it will be affecting millions of people with wind and water all the way through the New England area through the end of this week. And so now we've got tropical storm watches that extend all the way up into the Long Island and New England area. We'll get those plotted for you as soon as the Weather Service offices populate those. But the watches have been extended northeastward from what you see here. And we still have the warnings that go through Savannah and Charleston. Now, the timing is such that, in a place like Charleston, you could get the winds of tropical storm force arriving in the early AM hours tomorrow. A place like Norfolk, Virginia could be this time tomorrow evening. So this will be a fast mover. We have the flood watches, and for good reason here in North Florida and southern Georgia.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
Way up into the New York City area and a lot of big cities in between. So we've got some water problems to contend with. Let's focus on the area where the center of circulation is, and here where we've had a lot of wind gusts over 30, even 40 miles an hour near the center, but also over in Jacksonville here at the Naval Air Station, gusting over 40 miles an hour, and the gusts will be on the increase off the Atlantic here in Brunswick and Savannah, Georgia. Switching over to the radar, you can see this is where we've had the tornado warnings and the downed trees and the fatalities, unfortunately, but we've got a lot of rains. We've got flash flood warnings here in the Valdosta, Georgia area. And flood warnings, maybe the water isn't rising that rapidly, but we've got a lot of water problems in Jacksonville and over back to the Florida Big Bend area. And the Valdosta area near the Florida-Georgia border, that's where the heaviest rains have fallen. About a half a foot over the last 6 hours. We've still got the warning there for Valdosta until 7:30. Considerable threat of flash flooding. And there's also the warning right there on the Florida border heading down to Madison, Florida. That's still 6:45. And look at some of these reports with the water. Water flooding San Bernardino Way in Valdosta. We got flash flooding in Clyattville, and in Lake Park, a road is closed due to flooding, and we've had a lot of wind as well. Tree reported down in Dasher, 25 to 30 trees and power lines down in Madison, Florida. So this is kind of where the circulation center has been going, and that's going to be an ongoing threat. So it's been Jacksonville, but it's also been in the Valdosta and Madison areas. Now, all this heavy rain that's training over northeastern Florida has led to the flood warning that's in effect for the Jacksonville area westward and northward till 6 p.m.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
Look at the Mayport gust of 52 miles an hour. McClenny, we have a lot of trees down and power out in the city. And in Maxville, trees knocked down both lanes of State Road 228. So we've got mainly two problems right now, Mike, and that is trees coming down and water covering roads. And it's about to get worse in a place like Savannah in just a little bit.
All right, Dr. Neff, thanks so much for that. I want to bring you the update on this city by city, so you know what to anticipate as this storm rolls in, because for a lot of you, the weather goes downhill from this point going forward, or what you're under right now may actually improve for you a little bit. All right, let's take you up into the Georgia, South Carolina area. This is the state line right here, okay? Watch as the storm then pulls northbound here. So is Statesboro or Savannah by about 9, 10 o'clock tonight. More thunderstorms for you. That will include a place like Hilton Head. Then those storms sticking with us for several hours, rolling through the Low Country, the Grand Strand, Charleston. You get hit overnight early in the morning, by about 7 o'clock or so. The storms start to move north at this point, but plenty of rain will be headed through South Carolina and eventually North Carolina. And even notice, as the storm is pulling away, trailing bands could come off of this and still hit us tomorrow evening. So tomorrow, 5 o'clock, notice more storms now, say Charleston over towards Statesboro. Be watching for a line there, and not completely gone until sometime early Friday morning. So we could be in this for a little while here. There could be some pockets, especially short term here. I'm talking the next maybe 6 to 8 hours. We've got some really heavy rain here. It could include I-16, Hinesville to Statesboro over towards Savannah. 2 to 3 inch rainfall anticipated for you. Then, of course, there's going to be some wind. Winds this evening, 25 to 30 miles per hour. So it's not going to be
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
For Savannah, where you have a little bit less friction, a little bit more exposed to the water here. And then going through the early morning hours tomorrow, even if you're close to that center now, a place like Orangeburg could be looking at wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So the heavy rain, saturated soil, trees could be toppling over. We're going to back off on the winds midday tomorrow. They come down significantly for us. Then the storm rolls up through North Carolina. So here we go, Myrtle Beach early in the morning. Wilmington, you get the storms by mid-morning here. Then the storms likely to exit by maybe around rush hour, just before rush hour, and clearing out later in the day. But again, with trailing thunderstorms that come back in on Friday morning. We certainly know that one threat from else is going to be that water. The waves really crashing here on the pier at Horseshoe Beach, and the storm surge washing over the roadways here. Dr. Knapp coming back with us here to talk a little bit more about the water here, Dr. Knapp. Would there be more places that you'd be concerned about surge, and what about the rainfall flight?
Well, the Big Bend area of Florida, it's winding down. We still could get 1 to 2 feet of saltwater flooding there. The Horseshoe Beach area, Keaton Beach, this area. We still have an onshore flow, but the storm surge warnings come down because we're below that 3-foot threshold. But you can start to get the sense that we're having some onshore flow into the southeast coast. So, a very flood-prone place like Charleston, South Carolina, could be dealing with not only a little bit of onshore push that could cause some minor coastal flooding from saltwater all on its own, but then the combination of that with rain-induced flash flooding as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. So Charleston, one place we're concerned about. Then it goes north from there tomorrow night into Friday morning, the very flood-prone Hampton Roads area, and getting up into the big cities.
A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our area.
Departing on Friday, we could have some locally heavy rains and some flash flooding. Just to give you a sense of how this is going to play out, just because it's over land doesn't mean we aren't going to have potentially some strong winds and a little bit of coastal flooding along the coastlines of South Carolina and North Carolina. And then look at this onshore flow and heavy rainfall for a lot of the big cities in the Northeast on Friday. The weekend will be better though.